Betrayed bride marries a stranger to escape heartbreak. She had no idea he was a billionaire CEO. She wasn't supposed to get married that night. An hour earlier, she had discovered the man she loved had betrayed her. No apology, no explanation, just humiliation. So she did something reckless. She walked into the event hall and married the first stranger who agreed. What she didn't know was that the quiet man standing beside her was a billionaire CEO whose name controlled entire industries. "You told me you loved me this morning." The words came out broken, shattered like glass on cathedral floors. Waverly stood in the doorway of the bridal suite, her hands still clutching white peonies and garden roses, watching her fiancé Brennan move inside her cousin Juniper against the antique vanity where Waverly had applied her makeup an hour ago. Brennan's eyes met hers in the mirror. No shock registered on his face. No guilt. Just irritation, like she'd interrupted a business call instead of destroying her entire world. "Waverly." His voice was steady as he continued moving. "You weren't supposed to be back yet." The photographer said 15 minutes. She watched Juniper's head fall back, watched her cousin's mouth form words Waverly couldn't hear over the blood rushing in her ears. The same cousin who'd held her hand through her mother's funeral. The same cousin she'd chosen as maid of honor. The same cousin wearing the dusty rose dress Waverly had spent 3 weeks helping her find. How long? Waverly's voice came from somewhere outside her body, cold, deadly calm. Since when? Juniper turned, lipstick smeared, hair that Waverly had paid $200 to have styled now tangled and wild. Does it really matter? Her accent, the one Waverly used to think was charming, now sounded like nails on a chalkboard. 2 years. Maybe longer. Brennan adjusted his tuxedo pants with the same efficient movements he used when closing deals at his father's firm. "Since your mother got sick, actually." Grief makes people vulnerable, Waverly. Makes them easy. The bouquet hit the floor. Peonies scattered like tiny white hearts across marble tile. Each flower had been specifically chosen. Each one representing something. Purity, romance, happy marriage. The florist had spent 40 minutes explaining the symbolism while Waverly nodded and smiled and believed in fairy tales. "Why marry me then?" "Because your father's name still opens doors even if his money's gone." Brennan straightened his bow tie in the mirror, examining his reflection like he was preparing for a gala instead of confessing to destroying someone's life. "The Hartwick legacy is worth more than whatever's left in the family accounts. Plus, you're beautiful, well-bred, exactly the kind of wife a man in my position needs." And Juniper laughed, the sound sharp and cruel. "I'm the one he actually wants. You're just the one he's willing to be photographed with, the one his parents approve of. I'm the dirty secret that makes everything else bearable." Something inside Waverly turned to ice. The part of her that had spent 6 months planning this wedding, that had agonized over seating charts and menu selections, that had maxed out 3 credit cards to make everything perfect, because Brennan said his family expected excellence. That part died right there on the bridal suite floor next to scattered peonies. She bent down, picked up her bouquet, smoothed her dress, met her reflection in the same mirror where Brennan had just made eye contact while destroying her. Then she smiled. "You're right, this doesn't matter." Brennan's eyebrows rose slightly. "Finally. Some sense. The reception starts in 20 minutes. Get yourself together and we'll—" "I'm not going to any reception." Waverly turned toward the door. "I'm not marrying you. I'm not doing any of this." She started walking. "Waverly, don't be dramatic." Brennan's voice carried that patronizing tone he used when he thought she was being emotional. "We had an arrangement. Your father agreed. His debts are his problem." She called back without stopping. "Not mine. Not anymore." The hallway stretched endlessly before her. Cream-colored walls lined with photographs of happy couples who'd married here over the past century. Had any of them discovered their fiancé inside their cousin an hour before the ceremony? Had any of them run? Waverly ran. The grand staircase of the Ashworth estate blurred beneath her feet. Her cathedral-length veil caught on a banister and she ripped it free, leaving expensive French lace hanging like a surrender flag. Guests were already gathering in the main hall. She heard her father's voice directing people toward the ceremony space, heard the string quartet beginning their prelude program. 200 people waiting to witness her happily ever after. She hit the main doors at full speed. They burst open and September rain hit her like a baptism. Cold. Cleansing. Real. The sky had been clear an hour ago. Now it opened up like the universe itself was weeping for her shattered illusions. Miss Hartwick. The valet's eyes went wide. Do you need a car? She gasped out. Any car. Just get me away from here. But your wedding is over. Get me a car now. She didn't wait for his response. Her shoes, custom-dyed Jimmy Choos that had cost $800, lasted exactly 1 block before the heels snapped. She kicked them off and kept running barefoot down Riverside Avenue. Her dress, $60,000 of silk mikado and imported lace, dragged through puddles and gathered street grime. The train, the same train she'd spent hours steaming to perfection, became heavy with rainwater and debris. People stared. A man in a business suit offered his umbrella. A woman called out asking if she needed help. 3 teenagers filmed her on their phones, probably already uploading to whatever social media platform would make her humiliation go viral first. Runaway bride trends well, gets engagement, drives clicks. She kept running. Past boutique storefronts and coffee shops, past the corner where Brennan had proposed 6 months ago, getting down on one knee in front of a crowd of strangers who'd applauded like it was the most romantic thing they'd ever witnessed. Past the restaurant where they'd had their first date, where he'd ordered for her without asking what she wanted and she'd thought it was chivalrous instead of controlling. Her lungs burned. Her feet bled. She didn't care. A limousine hydroplaned to a stop beside her. Sleek. Black. Expensive in a way that made Brennan's family money look like comfortable upper middle class instead of actual wealth. The window descended with a whisper of German engineering, running from something or toward something. The voice was whiskey over smoke, dark honey and danger. Waverly stopped. Bent forward with her hands on her knees, gasping for air, soaked to the bone in a destroyed wedding dress. She looked up. The man in the back of the limousine was shadows and sharp edges. She could see his eyes, though. Pale gray like winter mornings, like storms over the ocean, like promises that might cut you if you held them wrong. Does it matter? She threw back. Does anything matter? Get in. I don't know you. Good. He leaned forward slightly and she caught expensive cologne, something dark with notes of cedar and smoke. I don't know you either. We can be strangers together. Strangers don't invite strangers into limousines. Smart strangers don't. His smile was sharp. But you just ran away from your wedding in the rain. Smart clearly isn't today's priority. Lightning cracked overhead. Thunder followed 3 seconds later. The storm was directly above them now. The universe offering her a choice. Keep running into the rain with nowhere to go, or get in the car with a beautiful, dangerous stranger and see what happens. A sane woman would have kept running. A smart woman would have called someone, called her father, called a friend, called anyone. Waverly got in the limousine. If your heart is racing right now, hit that like button and smash subscribe with notifications on, because you won't believe where this story goes. I'm also pushing for 1,000 subscribers before Christmas, and honestly, that would be the best Christmas gift you could give me. The interior of the limousine was all black leather and tinted windows. The stranger poured amber liquid from a crystal decanter, his movements precise despite the car already moving through traffic. Up close she could see him properly, sharp jawline. Dark hair pushed back like he'd run his fingers through it too many times. A small scar cutting through his left eyebrow that suggested stories she probably shouldn't want to hear. He wore a charcoal suit that probably cost more than her wedding dress had. Everything about him screamed money, real money, the kind that didn't need to announce itself. Drink. He handed her a heavy crystal glass. You look like you need it. I need a lot of things. She took the glass, her fingers brushing his. A time machine. A different cousin. Better judgment. She downed the whiskey in one burning swallow. What I don't need is a strange man thinking he can fix me with expensive alcohol. I don't fix people. He poured himself a drink, settled back against the leather. I collect broken things. How poetic. She set down the glass. Are you a serial killer? Serial killers lack imagination. He smiled slightly. Similar skill set. Less cleanup. That should have scared her. Instead, she laughed. Hysterical. Hollow. The sound of someone whose life had just imploded and found it funny. So what then? You just drive around looking for runaway brides to collect. No. His eyes studied her like she was a contract worth reading. Usually I have better things to do. Today I was heading to sign papers that would make me very rich and very miserable. Then I saw you running and thought maybe we could be miserable together instead. You don't look miserable. You look dangerous. Same thing. He leaned forward. Tell me what happened. No. She matched his posture, leaning in. You tell me why a man with a limousine and expensive scotch is cruising through the rain instead of signing papers that make him rich. Because rich is easy. He studied her. Happy is complicated. And you think picking up strange women solves that? I think you're not strange. You're spectacular. She blinked. What? Look at you. He gestured with his glass. You're soaking wet in what looks like a very expensive wedding dress. Your feet are bleeding. Your makeup is running. You have a flower petal stuck in your hair. He reached out, plucked a white peony petal from behind her ear. And you're the most beautiful thing I've seen in years. That's the worst line I've ever heard. It's not a line. His gray eyes held hers. Lines are designed to get something. I'm just stating facts. What do you want from me? Nothing. Everything. He set down his glass. I want to know why you ran. I want to know what kind of fool let you go. I want to know if you're hungry because I'm starving and there's a place that makes the best dim sum in the city. It's nearly 4 in the afternoon. Perfect timing. They won't be crowded. She should have demanded he stop the car, should have gotten out at the next light, should have done literally anything other than what she did next. I'm starving. Good. He pressed a button and spoke to the driver. Chaos. The private room. Then back to her. I'm Cashton. Waverly. She held out her hand to shake. He took it but didn't shake. Instead, he turned it over and pressed his lips to her wrist, right where her pulse hammered visibly against her skin. Pleasure to meet you, Waverly. You're trouble. Absolutely. His smile was devastating. Is that a problem? She thought about Brennan's predictable marriage proposal, about 6 months of wedding planning, about a lifetime mapped out in careful, safe, soul-crushing detail. Ask me in an hour. The restaurant was tucked into a neighborhood Waverly had never explored. The kind of place with no English signage and locals giving them strange looks as Cashton led her through the main dining room. She was still in her destroyed wedding dress, still barefoot, still clearly insane. The private room was all dark wood and paper screens. A table set for 2 like he'd been expected. Like this was planned. You come here often. Weekly. He pulled out her chair. Best soup dumplings in 3 states. They know me, clearly. She sat, hyper-aware of the water still dripping from her dress onto expensive flooring. Does this place have a dress code I'm violating? For you, tonight, there are no rules. An older woman entered, took one look at Waverly, and rattled off something in Mandarin to Cashton. He responded fluently. The woman laughed, shook her head, and disappeared. What did she say? Cashton smiled. She asked if I'd kidnapped a bride. What did you tell her? Everything arrived in waves. Soup dumplings, scallion pancakes, salt and pepper shrimp, dishes Waverly couldn't name but tasted like comfort and heat. She hadn't realized how hungry she was until food appeared. Hadn't eaten since yesterday. Too nervous about fitting into the dress. The dress that was now ruined and she didn't even care. You're staring. She looked up to find Cashton watching her instead of eating. You eat like you're angry at the food. I'm angry at everything. Fair. He selected a dumpling with chopsticks. Offered it to her. Channel it into this. It's exceptional. She took it directly from his chopsticks. An intimate gesture that should have felt strange but somehow didn't. He was right. It was exceptional. Tell me about him. No. Tell me about you instead. She reached for the scallion pancakes. If we're doing this confessional thing, you go first. What do you want to know? Everything. Why you're not signing your papers. Why you pick up runaway brides. Why you're here with me instead of literally anywhere else. Because... He paused, something vulnerable crossing his face before his mask slipped back into place. Because 3 hours ago I was sitting in my attorney's office about to sign documents that would finalize a merger, make me wealthier than I already am, lock me into a business arrangement that would consume the next decade of my life. And I realized I couldn't breathe. So you ran. Just like me. I drove. He corrected. Less dramatic but same energy. Then I saw you actually running and thought maybe the universe was trying to tell me something. What's the universe saying? That sometimes the best decisions are the ones that make no sense. He leaned forward. That sometimes you have to blow up your life to save it. I didn't blow up my life. She set down her chopsticks. I just walked away from a lie. Which is brave, terrifying, possibly the smartest thing you've ever done. She wanted to argue, wanted to say running was cowardly. But looking at him, at this stranger who'd picked her up off the street and fed her soup dumplings without asking for her story, she felt seen in a way Brennan never managed in 6 months of being engaged. Why are you being so nice to me? I'm not nice. His smile turned sharp. Ask anyone who works for me. I'm demanding, ruthless, occasionally cruel when business requires it. This isn't nice. This is selfish. How is this selfish? Because I wanted to have dinner with a beautiful woman, and you were running in the rain. He reached across the table, tucked a strand of wet hair behind her ear. Because I'm tired of calculated decisions and you represent chaos. Because for one night I wanted to be someone other than who I'm expected to be. Who are you expected to be? Someone boring. He withdrew his hand, but his eyes stayed locked on hers. Someone practical. Someone who signs mergers and makes rational choices and never picks up runaway brides. And who do you want to be? Someone who keeps you company until you figure out what comes next. What if I never figure it out? Then I'll keep you company indefinitely. That's insane. Yes. His smile was beautiful and dangerous. Is that a problem? 2 hours later, they were still talking. The restaurant staff had cleared their plates and brought tea, and somehow Waverly had told him everything. About Brennan, about Juniper, about her father's gambling debts and the dealership he'd lost, and how Brennan had promised to help, to invest, to save the family business, if Waverly would just marry him and be the perfect wife his political ambitions required. He wanted a trophy. Cashton's voice was cold. He got a queen and was too stupid to know the difference. I'm not a queen. I'm a disaster. You're magnificent. He stood, held out his hand. Come with me. Where? Somewhere better than here. She should have said no. Should have thanked him for dinner and called her father and dealt with the wreckage of her almost wedding like an adult. Instead, she took his hand. They drove through the city as night fell. Rain had stopped, but everything glistened. Neon signs reflected in puddles. Streetlights painted everything in shades of gold and shadow. The limousine headed upward, literally upward, toward the hills where homes cost tens of millions and privacy was purchased along with the property. This is where you live. Cashton nodded toward the windows as they passed through gates that opened automatically. One of the places. How many places do you have? Enough to be embarrassing, not enough to feel like home. The house appeared through trees. Modern. All glass and clean lines, perched on the hillside like an eagle's nest overlooking the city below. It's beautiful. It's empty. He helped her out of the car. But tonight maybe it'll feel less so. Inside was museum quality. Soaring ceilings, art she recognized from textbooks, furniture that looked like sculpture. Everything perfect, everything cold. This doesn't look like anyone lives here. No one really does. He moved toward a bar that probably cost more than most people's cars. I sleep here sometimes between trips. Keep clothes here. But living requires something I haven't figured out how to do. What's that? Stop moving long enough to feel anything. He poured 2 glasses of something amber. I'm excellent at motion. Terrible at stillness. Maybe you just haven't found a reason to stop. Maybe. He handed her a glass. Or maybe I'm too afraid of what I'll find if I do. They stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows. The city spread below them like scattered diamonds. Waverly still in her destroyed wedding dress. Cashton still in his perfect suit. 2 strangers suspended in a moment that felt both infinite and fleeting. I should probably go, she said without moving. Probably, he agreed without stepping back. I don't even know your last name. Does it matter? For tonight, can we just be Waverly and Cashton? Two people who ran from lives that didn't fit. She turned to face him. What happens tomorrow? Tomorrow, everything changes. His hand came up to cup her face. Tomorrow, you'll have decisions to make. People to face. A life to rebuild. But tonight, I just want to be someone who didn't run. Someone who chose something instead of away from something. And what are you choosing? You. She closed the distance between them. For tonight. For however long this lasts. I'm choosing you. He kissed her then. Not gentle. Not careful. Like he was drowning and she was air. Like she was drowning and he was the only solid thing in a world gone liquid. His hands slid into her wet hair. Hers found the buttons of his shirt. The expensive fabric gave way easily. Somewhere between the windows and the stairs they left a trail. His jacket. Her veil that she'd somehow still been wearing. His shirt. Her dress finally unzipped and pooled at her feet like a white silk puddle. His bedroom was the only room that looked lived in. Books stacked on the nightstand. Clothes thrown over a chair. Papers scattered across a desk. Evidence of humanity in the museum. You're thinking too much. He pulled her against him. I can see you thinking. I'm thinking this is crazy. We don't know each other. Good crazy or bad crazy. She looked up at him. This man who'd appeared in the rain. This stranger who somehow felt familiar. I don't know yet. Then let's find out. He lifted her easily, carried her to the bed, laid her down like she was something precious instead of broken. What if I'm a mess? What if I cry? What if I can't? Then you cry. He came down beside her. Then you're a mess. Then we stop. His thumb traced her cheekbone. There's no wrong way to do this. To do what? To be honest about what we want. His eyes held hers. I want you, however you come, mess and all, and what do you want from me? Nothing you're not ready to give. Tell me if I should stop. She pulled him down to her. Don't stop. Don't you dare stop. He didn't. He took his time. Learned her with hands and mouth. Found the places that made her gasp. The touches that made her forget about Brennan and Juniper and ruined weddings and everything except this. The way he said her name like a prayer. The way she clutched his shoulders like an anchor. The way they fit together like two broken pieces making something whole. After, they lay tangled in sheets that probably cost more than her car. City lights painted patterns across skin. His fingers traced lazy circles on her shoulder. That was, he paused, unexpected. Good unexpected or bad unexpected. She turned to face him, terrifying unexpected. His smile was soft, devastating, perfect. I don't do this. What? Sleep with strangers. Run from my life. Any of this. Good. His hand slid down her spine. Neither do I. Liar. You pick me up off the street. I pick up exactly one runaway bride. He pulled her closer. You're not a habit. You're an anomaly. Is that good? It's everything. They fell asleep like that, two strangers who'd become something else, something without a name yet. Something that would either save them or destroy them completely. Waverly woke to sunlight and the smell of coffee. For a moment she didn't remember where she was. Then it all crashed back. The wedding, the betrayal, the rain, Cashton. She sat up. His shirt from last night lay across a chair and she pulled it on. White Egyptian cotton that probably cost more than her destroyed dress. It fell to mid-thigh and smelled like him. Cedar and smoke and expensive things. The bedroom opened onto a hallway lined with windows. She followed the coffee smell downstairs, through rooms that looked like magazine spreads, to a kitchen that was all marble and steel. Cashton stood at the counter in pajama bottoms and nothing else. His back was to her. Muscles moved under skin as he poured coffee. She took a moment to just look, to appreciate what she'd touched in the dark. Then his phone rang. He answered in what sounded like Japanese. His voice changed, became harder. The man from last night disappeared and someone else emerged. Tell Nakamura if he can't meet the terms, I'll go to Sato instead. He listened. I don't care about the timeline. He has 48 hours or I walk. More listening. Then do it. He ended the call. Turned. Saw her. The hardness melted slightly. You're awake. You're terrifying. She moved into the kitchen. Is that how you always do business? Only when people try to manipulate timelines. He poured her coffee, cream, sugar, both. He added both without measuring, handed her a cup that was exactly right. How did you know? Lucky guess. But his smile said otherwise. Sit. We need to talk. That sounds ominous. It's necessary. He gestured to the bar stools at the island. Last night was, he paused. Last night was perfect, but morning requires honesty. Okay. She sat. Be honest. I wasn't completely truthful with you. Her stomach dropped. Oh God, you're married. Worse. His gray eyes met hers. I'm Dakota Cashton Merrick. The Dakota Cashton Merrick, CEO of Merrick Industries. The name hit her like cold water. She'd heard of Merrick Industries. Everyone had. Tech giant, billions in revenue. The 34-year-old CEO who'd taken over his father's company and tripled its value in 5 years. She'd seen him on magazine covers. In business news. Never connected that man with the one who'd picked her up in the rain. She set down her coffee. You're you. Guilty. He watched her carefully. I should have told you last night. Why didn't you? Because for one night I wanted to be just Cashton, not the CEO, not the billionaire, not the man everyone wants something from. He leaned forward. I wanted someone to choose me without seeing dollar signs. So you lied. I omitted. There's a difference. Is there? She stood. Because from where I'm standing, I just went from one liar to another. Except this one comes with a Wikipedia page. Waverly. She held up her hand. I need air. He didn't stop her as she walked to the windows. The city spread below. Somewhere down there was her real life. Her father, the wedding venue, 200 guests who'd shown up to watch her marry Brennan, the mess she'd left behind. Would you have gotten in the car if you knew? He asked quietly. If I'd said I'm Dakota Merrick, billionaire, would you have trusted me? She wanted to say yes, wanted to pretend money didn't matter. But they both knew better. I don't know. At least you're honest. He pulled out his phone, showed her the screen. Headlines screamed back at her. Runaway bride identified. Waverly Hartwick flees wedding. Brennan Thornfield claims bride had breakdown. And below those, mystery man. Who picked up runaway bride? Merrick Industries stock fluctuates on CEO's absence. They connected us, she whispered. How? Traffic cameras. Social media. His smile was bitter. 3 people filmed you getting in my car. By midnight, the internet had identified my license plate. By morning, every news outlet had the story. Oh God. My father. Already handled. He scrolled through messages. My team reached out. Offered him a statement. He's claiming you're under medical care and the wedding will be rescheduled. What? I didn't authorize. You were asleep. I made an executive decision. She stared at him. You can't just make decisions about my life. I can when photographers are camped outside my gates and your ex-fiancé is calling you mentally unstable on morning shows. Brennan was on television, saying you had a breakdown, that the stress of wedding planning became too much, that he's worried about you and hopes you'll get the help you need. Each word was a nail in her coffin. Of course he is. He's controlling the narrative, making himself the concerned fiancé instead of the cheating bastard. Exactly. Cashton set down his phone. Which is why I have a proposition. If you're about to offer money to make this go away, no. He moved closer. I'm about to offer you something better. Revenge. Revenge. She turned to face him fully. I don't want revenge. I want to forget yesterday ever happened. Do you? His eyes held hers. Because from where I'm standing, you want justice. You want everyone who's calling you unstable to know the truth. You want your father to stop making deals with your life. You want Brennan and Juniper to face consequences instead of walking away clean. That's not revenge. That's fairness. Call it whatever helps you sleep at night. He moved to the windows beside her. I'm offering you a weapon. What kind of weapon? Me, my resources, my platform. He gestured at the city below. Brennan is controlling the narrative because he has money and connections. I have more of both. Let me even the playing field. And what do you want in return? Nothing. Her laugh was bitter. Everyone wants something. Fine. He turned to her. I want you to stay. Here. With me. For how long? Long enough to make this convincing. He pulled out his phone again, showed her another headline. Merrick spotted with mystery woman. Stocks rise on relationship news. I don't understand. There's a clause in my father's will. Cashton's jaw tightened. If I'm not married by my 35th birthday, my shares in Merrick Industries get redistributed to the board. I lose controlling interest in my own company. When's your birthday? 3 weeks ago. The words hung between them like smoke. You're telling me you need to get married. In the next 7 days or I lose everything my father built. Everything I've spent a decade growing. He met her eyes. I was on my way to my lawyer yesterday to discuss options when I saw you running. And you think I'm an option? I think we're both desperate. His honesty was brutal. I think you need protection from Brennan's narrative and I need a wife. I think we could help each other. This is insane. You want me to marry you. I want us to enter a mutually beneficial arrangement. 1 year. You stay married to me for 1 year. I protect you from Brennan, clear your name, set you up with enough money to start over anywhere you want. After a year, we divorce quietly and go our separate ways. You've thought about this. I've thought about nothing else since 3 this morning when I woke up with you in my arms and realized I didn't want you to leave. That's not a business reason. No. He stepped closer. That's the reason I'm terrified to examine. So let's stick with business. It's safer. She should have said no, should have walked out, should have handled her mess herself like an adult. But standing there in his shirt, looking at this man who'd shown her more honesty in 12 hours than Brennan had in 6 months, she found herself considering it. What would this arrangement look like? Public. He was direct. We'd need to sell it. Appearances together. Social media presence. You'd move in here. We'd attend events as a couple. Convince the world and my board that this is real. And privately. That's up to us. His voice softened. I'm not Brennan. I won't force you into anything you don't want. Last night was a mistake. She needed to say it even if she didn't believe it. We were both running from something. Was it? He moved closer. Because it felt pretty deliberate to me. We don't know each other. Then we'll learn. 1 year, Waverly. Let me help you. Let me. He paused. Let me see where this goes. This isn't real. It could be. And if it's not, then in a year you walk away with enough money to never depend on anyone again. Financial independence. A fresh start. Freedom from whatever mess Brennan creates. She wanted to find a flaw in his logic. Wanted to be smart and careful and all the things she hadn't been when she got engaged to Brennan. Instead, she heard herself ask, when would we need to do this? Today. Tomorrow, at the latest. The board meets in 72 hours. I need to present proof of marriage or start preparing to lose my company. You're serious. Completely. Do you have a ring? He pulled a small box from his pocket, had it in his pocket like he'd been planning this, like he'd known she'd say yes before she'd even considered it. May I? He opened the box. The ring inside was vintage, Art Deco. A large emerald-cut diamond flanked by smaller stones, delicate and strong at the same time. It's beautiful. It was my grandmother's. The only person in my family who married for love instead of merger. She stayed married 53 years. Died 6 months after my grandfather. He held her gaze. I'd like to think she'd approve of this. Of a fake marriage. Of taking a chance on something that might become real. He took the ring from the box. Of choosing connection over calculation. This is crazy. Yes, his smile was devastating. Is that a problem? If you're invested in this story, drop a comment telling me what you would do in Waverly's position, and don't forget to hit subscribe because this is just the beginning. Waverly stared at the ring. At this man who was essentially a stranger. At the choice that would either save her or destroy what was left of her life. I have conditions. Name them. No lies. His eyebrows rose. That's rich coming from someone who just caught her fiancé. I mean between us. She held his gaze. You want a year? Fine. But no more omissions. No more half-truths. We're honest with each other even when it's hard. Agreed. What else? I want my own money. not an allowance. Not access to your accounts. My own income. You're hiring me. Consider yourself my wife. That's a job, the most important one. He was serious. I'll pay you a salary. $200,000 a month, she choked. That's excessive. That's what my last assistant made, and you'll be doing significantly more work. She wanted to argue, but the number was staggering. In 1 year, she'd have over $2 million. Enough to truly start over. To never depend on anyone again. What else? I want the truth about last night. Did you plan this? Did you see me running and think, here's my solution? No. He set down the ring box. I saw you running and thought she's the most alive person I've seen in years. I saw you get in my car and thought, don't let her leave. I took you to dinner because I wanted to. Brought you here because I couldn't imagine saying goodbye. He moved closer. This arrangement idea came at 3 this morning when I realized I had a solution to both our problems. But wanting you, that started the moment you got in my car. That's not business. No. His hand came up to cup her face. That's the complication that might make this year either the best decision or the worst mistake of my life. And if I say no, then I'll have my driver take you wherever you want to go. I'll still protect you from Brennan's narrative. Still make sure you're taken care of. He was earnest. I'm not holding you hostage, Waverly. This only works if you choose it. She thought about her alternatives. Going back to her father's house where Brennan's version of events would be accepted as truth, facing 200 wedding guests who'd already decided she was unstable. Starting over with nothing while Brennan and Juniper faced 0 consequences. Or she could take this mad offer. Marry a billionaire who made her feel more in 12 hours than Brennan had in 6 months. Spend a year learning what it meant to be chosen instead of used. Walk away with enough money to build any life she wanted. The choice should have been harder. Yes. She met his eyes. I'll marry you. You're sure? No. She laughed. I'm terrified and probably making another huge mistake, but I'm choosing it anyway. So yes. He slid the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. How? Lucky guess, but his smile said he'd had it sized. Had been planning this longer than he'd admitted. When, today, if possible. He checked his watch. I'll have my attorney draw up papers. We can be married by this afternoon. That fast. I have resources. He pulled out his phone, started typing. We'll do it at my estate in Sonoma. Private. Just us and whoever we need for legal purposes. What about your family? Won't they want to be there? My mother will have opinions regardless of whether she attends. His tone suggested complicated history. Better to present her with a fait accompli. And your father? My father's been dead 3 years. This is his mess I'm cleaning up. There was pain under the words. Old wounds poorly healed. I'm sorry. Don't be. He looked up from his phone. He built an empire and forgot to build a life. I'm trying not to make the same mistake. Is that what I am? Your life. You're my chance at one. He pocketed his phone. Everything's arranged. We leave in 2 hours. I don't have anything to wear. I ran away in a wedding dress, remember? Handled. He gestured toward the stairs. 2nd bedroom. Vivian from my office dropped off clothes an hour ago. Your size. How do you know my size? I pay attention. The way he said it made heat pool low in her stomach. This was insane. All of it. And yet, what do I tell my father? The truth. That you're marrying someone who sees your worth. That Brennan can spin whatever narrative he wants, but you're moving forward. He took her hand. I'll have my team draft a statement. Your father will be taken care of financially. The business debts Brennan promised to cover. Consider them handled. You don't have to. Yes, I do. His grip tightened. You're going to be my wife. That means your family is my responsibility. It's not real. The words felt hollow even as she said them. It's real enough. Now go get ready. We have a wedding to attend. Our wedding. Our wedding. He smiled. 2nd time's the charm. 2 hours later, Waverly stood in Cashton's Sonoma estate wearing a dress she hadn't chosen but fit like it had been made for her. Cream silk, simple, elegant. Nothing like the elaborate gown she'd destroyed yesterday. This dress felt like her. like someone had looked at her and seen who she actually was instead of who she was supposed to be. "You look beautiful." Cashton appeared in the doorway wearing a dark suit. No tuxedo, no performance. Just him looking at her like she mattered. This is really happening. Are you having second thoughts? Third and fourth. She turned to face him. This is crazy. We're strangers. We're strangers getting married so you keep your company and I escape my ex. That's the business arrangement. His eyes held hers as he crossed to her. But that's not why my hands are shaking. Your hands don't shake. You're Dakota Cashton Merrick. You negotiate billion-dollar deals before breakfast. And I'm terrified of what happens at the end of this year. That's months away. Exactly. He took her hands, which means I have months to make you want to stay. And if you don't, then I'll keep my word. You'll walk away with everything I promised. But I'm going to try. He brought her hand to his lips. I'm going to try to make this real. The officiant is waiting. A woman in her 60s, kind eyes, smile lines suggesting she'd seen enough love to recognize it in any form, stood in Cashton's library between walls of first editions and afternoon light. Are we ready? As we'll ever be. Cashton kept hold of Waverly's hand. The ceremony was nothing like yesterday's planned extravaganza. No flowers, no music, no guests witnessing and judging. Just two people and promises that might be lies or might become truth. Do you, Dakota Cashton Merrick, take Waverly Jane Hartwick to be your lawfully wedded wife? I do. His voice was steady. His eyes never left hers. Do you, Waverly Jane Hartwick, take Dakota Cashton Merrick to be your lawfully wedded husband? She thought about Brennan, about 6 months of planning a wedding to someone who'd never seen her, about her cousin's laughter and her father's debts, and every choice that had led her to yesterday's disaster. Then she looked at Cashton. At this stranger who'd picked her up in the rain, who'd fed her soup dumplings and listened to her story and offered her a way out that might also be a way forward. I do. Then by the power vested in me by the state of California, I pronounce you husband and wife. The officiant smiled. You may kiss your bride. May I? Cashton's hand came up to cup her face. Please. He kissed her softly, gently, like she was something precious instead of a business arrangement. Like this mattered beyond contracts and clauses. When they pulled apart, the officiant was beaming. Congratulations. I've married 200 couples, and I can always tell which ones will last. She gathered her papers. You two. You're either going to crash and burn or celebrate 50 years. Either way, it'll be spectacular. After she left, they stood in the library. Officially married, legally bound, still essentially strangers. So, Waverly touched her ring. What now? Now. Cashton pulled out his phone. Now. We go public. He showed her Instagram. A photo of them from moments ago. Her in cream silk. Him looking at her like she was his whole world. The caption read, When you know, you know. Met the love of my life and couldn't wait another moment. Meet Mrs. Merrick. It already has 10,000 likes. She watched the number climb. Comments flooding in. Congratulations. Who is she? This is so romantic. Brennan Thornfield's worst nightmare. That last one made her smile. You tagged Brennan. I tagged everyone. His smile was sharp. Let them all know you're taken. Protected. Mine. I'm not yours. No. He pulled her close. You're your own. But you're also my wife. And I protect what's mine. Even if it's fake. Especially if it becomes real. They spent the rest of the afternoon fielding calls. Cashton's mother, Cordelia, was first. Her voice carried through the speakerphone like cut glass in judgment. You married a stranger. A runaway bride. Do you have any idea what the board will say? They'll say I met the deadline. Cashton's tone was neutral. I'm married. The clause is satisfied. To someone appropriate, someone vetted, someone I chose. He cut her off. Someone who makes me want to build a life instead of just manage assets. Get used to it, mother. Waverly's not going anywhere. After he hung up, Waverly asked, Does she always sound like that? Like she's permanently disappointed, since birth probably. He poured them both wine. Don't worry about Cordelia. She'll come around once she realizes you're not intimidated. I'm terrified. You hide it well. He handed her a glass. To hiding our terror and hoping for the best. They clinked glasses. Her father was next. Charles Hartwick's voice shook when he called. Waverly, baby, I've been so worried. Brennan said you had a breakdown. I'm fine, Dad. Better than fine, actually. I got married. To who? The pause was loaded. Please tell me this isn't some Vegas mistake. His name is Dakota Merrick. Silence. Then, the Dakota Merrick. Yes, we. How did you? I ran from the wedding, and he found me. She kept it simple. We connected. Things moved fast. But Dad, I'm happy. What about Brennan? What about the arrangements? Handled. Cashton took the phone. Mr. Hartwick. Dakota Merrick. I want you to know your daughter is safe and cared for. The business debts you were concerned about. My attorneys are drafting agreements to resolve them. You'll receive paperwork tomorrow. Her father's voice cracked. Why would you do this? Because Waverly is my wife. That makes your well-being my concern. He met her eyes while he talked. I take care of my family. After the call ended, Waverly sat heavily on the couch. He thinks I married you for money. Did you? Cashton sat beside her. She wanted to say no, wanted to claim noble motivations. But honesty was part of their deal. Partially, she admitted. The money matters. Security matters. Not being dependent on men like Brennan matters. Good. His arm came around her shoulders. You should marry for money, for protection, for practical reasons. Love is the fairy tale they sell to make practical arrangements palatable. You don't believe in love. I believe in partnership. In choosing someone and working to build something together, whether you call that love or business. He shrugged. The result is the same. That's bleak. That's honest. He turned her to face him. I won't lie to you, Waverly. Won't promise you romance and forever, but I'll promise you honesty, respect, my full attention for the next year. If that becomes something more, we'll deal with it then. And if it doesn't, then we both walk away having learned something. What's that? That we're capable of choosing ourselves instead of settling for what other people think we deserve. Her phone buzzed. Texts flooding in. Friends she hadn't heard from in months suddenly concerned. Acquaintances wanting details. And then, Juniper. The message was simple. Enjoy your rebound. He'll get bored eventually. They all do. Cashton read over her shoulder. She's jealous. She got what she wanted. What she wanted was to win. He took Waverly's phone, responded before she could stop him. He typed, Dakota Merrick here. Using my wife's phone to say what she's too classy to. You're a sad person who confuses cruelty with power. Waverly won. You just haven't realized it yet. Don't contact her again. He handed back the phone. There. Handled. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. His jaw was set. You're my wife. That means something. Even if it's fake. Even if it becomes real. The way he kept saying that, like he was trying to convince himself or maybe permission to want it, made something in her chest tighten. What are we doing, Cashton? Building a life. One day at a time. He stood, held out his hand. Come on. Where? I want to show you something. He led her through the estate, past the library and formal dining room, through French doors onto a terrace that overlooked vineyards stretching toward hills painted purple in the setting sun. This is why I bought this place. He stood beside her at the stone railing. In the city, I'm Dakota Merrick, CEO, billionaire, my father's legacy. Here, I'm just what? Someone who wishes he knew how to stop. She slipped her hand into his. Maybe I can teach you. Maybe. He squeezed her fingers. If I can teach you that you're worth more than any man's attention. Deal. They watched the sun set over vines heavy with grapes soon to be harvested. Two strangers now legally bound. Playing at marriage while trying not to examine why it felt less like playing and more like possibility. Your phone is going to explode when the press releases hit tomorrow. He broke the silence. Are you ready for that? No, she laughed. But I'm getting good at doing things I'm not ready for. running into limousines, marrying billionaires. What's a little media scrutiny? You're extraordinary. You keep saying that. I keep meaning it. He turned to face her. 1 year. Waverly, help me keep my company. Let me help you rebuild your life. Let's see what we build together. And if we build nothing, then we both walk away. But something tells me. He touched her face. We're going to build something neither of us expected. That's what I'm afraid of. Fear means it matters. Good. He kissed her, soft and searching. When he pulled back, his eyes held questions he wasn't ready to ask. Come on, let's go inside. We have a marriage to fake and a life to figure out. As they walked back into the house, into their first night as husband and wife, Waverly thought about fairy tales and business arrangements and the space between lies and truth where real life happened. This was insane. All of it. And yet she'd never felt more alive. The New York penthouse was everything Waverly expected and nothing she was prepared for. 73rd floor, 3,000 square feet of marble and glass and art that belonged in museums. The kind of space that made her childhood home look quaint. The kind of wealth that didn't whisper, it simply existed. Undeniable and absolute. Welcome home, Mrs. Merrick. The voice belonged to a woman in her 50s. Elegant suit. Kind eyes. Efficiency radiating from every gesture. I'm Marion. I manage the household. Anything you need, just ask. I don't need much. Waverly felt small in the massive entryway. Maybe just directions so I don't get lost. Marion's smile warmed. Mr. Merrick can be overwhelming. The homes, the staff, the lifestyle. But you'll find your footing. She leaned in conspiratorially. And between us, it's nice to see him with someone who looks at him instead of his bank account. If she only knew. Cashton appeared from what looked like a home office. Phone to his ear, speaking rapid Mandarin. He held up one finger to Waverly. 1 minute, then disappeared back into the office. Marion shook her head. That man works more than anyone I've ever met. Hasn't taken a real day off in 3 years. Maybe you'll change that. I wouldn't count on it. We barely know each other. Marion's look was knowing. Sometimes the best marriages start that way. No expectations. Just discovery. She gestured down a hallway. Come. Let me show you your space. Your space turned out to be a master suite larger than Waverly's entire first apartment. King bed. Sitting area. Walk-in closet already filled with clothes in her size. Attached bathroom with a tub that could fit 4 people. This is too much. She turned to Marion. I don't need all this. Mr. Merrick was very specific about your comfort. Marion opened the closet. He had his personal shopper coordinate everything. Daywear, evening wear, casual, formal, shoes, accessories. If anything doesn't fit or isn't your style, just say so. We'll adjust. He did this. When? He made calls from the car on the way to Sonoma. Marion's smile was gentle. Had everything delivered and organized before you arrived. He's very thorough. He's very controlling. Waverly touched a dress. Beautiful emerald silk. Probably cost more than her car. He's very invested, Marion corrected. There's a difference. After Marion left, Waverly sank onto the bed. Her phone buzzed. Text from her father. The attorneys came. The paperwork is real. Waverly, what did you do? Another from her college roommate, Simone. Girl, you married Dakota Merrick. Call me immediately. I need details. Another from a number she didn't recognize. This is Cordelia Merrick. We need to talk. My attorney will be in touch regarding a prenuptial agreement. Bit late for that. Cashton's voice came from the doorway. We're already married. She looked up. How long have you been standing there? Long enough to see you look overwhelmed. He moved into the room, loosened his tie. My mother is persistent. Ignore her. She mentioned a prenup. Should we have done that? Probably. He sat beside her on the bed. But I don't want one. Why not? Because prenups are about protecting assets when things fall apart. His hand found hers. I'd rather spend energy making sure we don't fall apart. This is business. You said so yourself. I say a lot of things. He brought her hand to his lips. Doesn't make them all true. What's true then? That I haven't stopped thinking about you since you got in my car. That watching you stand up to my mother over text made me want to applaud. That having you in my space feels right in a way nothing has for years. He met her eyes. That scares me more than losing my company. You're good at this. At what? Making it feel real. Maybe. His thumb traced circles on her wrist. Or maybe it is real and we're both too afraid to admit it. Before she could respond, his phone rang. He glanced at it, grimaced. I have to take this. Board member, go ahead. She needed space anyway. Needed to process. He answered as he walked out. His voice shifted, became colder. Corporate. The Black King of Wall Street emerging. Waverly explored the penthouse. Found a library that rivaled the one in Sonoma. A kitchen that looked barely used. A gym with equipment that probably cost 6 figures. A terrace with views of Central Park. Everything perfect. Everything empty. Like Marion said, a showplace more than a home. She found Cashton in his office an hour later. Still on the phone, papers spread across a desk the size of her childhood bed. He looked exhausted. She knocked softly. He looked up, held up a finger, then into the phone. The merger happens on my terms or it doesn't happen. Your choice, Richards. He hung up, rubbed his eyes. Sorry. Crisis in the Singapore office. Always a crisis somewhere. She moved into the room. When's the last time you ate? He checked his watch. Breakfast, I think. It's 7 p.m. I've been busy. You've been obsessive. She pulled out her phone. I'm ordering dinner. What do you want? I should work through this. You should eat. What sounds good? Waverly. His tone was warning. I'm not good at being managed. Then it's fortunate I'm not trying to manage you. She met his gaze. I'm trying to feed my husband. There's a difference. Your fake husband. Stop saying that. Why? Because every time you do it feels more like a lie. He stood, came around the desk. We made an arrangement. A practical decision. So why does it feel like more? She didn't move. Didn't retreat. Because you're lonely. Because I'm convenient. Because we both want something real even if we're too scared to build it properly. That's honest. That's us. She smiled slightly. Brutally honest. Strangers playing house. His hand came up to cup her face. I'm not playing. No. Her breath caught. Neither am I. They stood there, close enough to kiss, far enough to retreat. The moment stretched, taut with possibility and fear. Then Cashton's stomach growled, loudly. They both laughed. Okay. He stepped back. You win. Order food. I'll finish this email. Thai, okay. Perfect. How did you know Thai is my favorite? Lucky guess. But she remembered him mentioning it over dim sum. Remembered everything about that first meal because she'd been paying attention too. They ate on the terrace. City lights spreading below them like promises. Pad Thai, green curry, spring rolls. Cashton ate like he was starving. Probably was. When was the last time you sat down for a meal? He considered. Really sat down. Not working. Not on a call. Actually present. Before my father died. That's 3 years. No wonder you're half dead. I'm fine. You're surviving. She reached for another spring roll. There's a difference. You sound like my therapist. You have a therapist. Had. He corrected. Stopped going when she kept saying I needed work-life balance. Clearly she didn't understand my industry, or she understood you better than you wanted. Waverly held his gaze. When do you see your friends? I have business associates, friends, people who know you, who you can be yourself with. I'm being myself with you. Are you? She leaned forward. Or are you being the version you think I need to see? He was quiet. Then, I don't know anymore. I've been the CEO so long I forgot there's supposed to be someone underneath. Let's find him. What? This year? Our arrangement? She gestured between them. Let's use it to remember who we are under all the armor. You want to therapy me. I want us to be honest about the arrangement. About what we want. About who we're becoming. She touched his hand. 1 year, Cashton. Let's not waste it pretending. And if we don't like what we find, then we know. His fingers laced with hers. But something tells me. What? We might surprise ourselves. The board meeting was 3 days later. Waverly wasn't invited, but Cashton insisted she come to the building. Or maybe he just didn't want to face his vultures alone. Merrick Industries headquarters was 60 stories of glass and ambition in Midtown. The lobby alone probably cost more than most buildings. Everything screamed power, money, success. Mrs. Merrick, a young woman in a sharp suit, approached. "I'm Tessa, Mr. Merrick's executive assistant. He asked me to get you settled in his private office. Thank you." Waverly followed her to elevators that required key card access. "You've worked for him long." 2 years. "He's demanding. Ruthless when he needs to be." Tessa pressed the button for the 60th floor. "But fair. And lately?" She glanced at Waverly. "Happier. It's the marriage, isn't it? I wouldn't know. I've only been his wife 3 days. 3 days and he's already different." Tessa smiled as the elevator opened. Smiles more. Leaves at reasonable hours. Actually ate lunch yesterday. That's the first time in months. The private office was stunning. Corner suite. Views in 2 directions. More art. More evidence of success. But also, photos on the desk. Cashton younger with an older man. His father probably. Similar features. Same intensity. Another of a woman. Dark hair. Warm eyes. Beautiful. "Who's this?" Waverly touched the frame. "His mother." Cashton's voice came from behind her. "Vivian. She died when I was 16. "I'm sorry. Don't be." He moved into the office. She was the only soft thing in a very hard family. When she died, he didn't finish. Didn't need to. You became hard too. Survival. He loosened his tie. "My father didn't tolerate weakness. Grief was weakness. So I buried it and became what he needed. And now I don't know how to unbecome it." He met her eyes. "But I'd like to learn." The meeting ran long. Waverly tried to work on her laptop. Tried to read. Mostly she watched the clock and wondered what was happening 40 floors below in the boardroom. When Cashton finally returned, he looked exhausted but triumphant. "Well." She stood. "They accepted it. Questioned your background, your family, the timing, but ultimately, he pulled her close. They accepted that I'm married and the clause is satisfied. I keep my company. That's good. That's everything." He kissed her, hard and grateful. "Thank you. I didn't do anything. You married me. That's not nothing. We both benefited. Still," he pulled back. "You saved my legacy. Now let me build yours." "What does that mean?" He grabbed his briefcase. "Come on, I want to show you something." They took his car, drove to a neighborhood in Chelsea Waverly had explored once. Galleries and studios. Creative energy humming through every street. "Where are we going?" "Here." He stopped in front of a building. Brick. Industrial. Beautiful bones. "I don't understand. You said you used to paint." "Before Brennan, before the wedding planning consumed everything." He pulled out keys. "You said you gave it up to be the woman he needed." "Yes. But you're not that woman anymore." He unlocked the door. "You're my wife, and my wife gets to be whoever she wants." He led her upstairs, to a loft space, empty except for, oh my God, light poured through massive windows, exposed brick, wood floors. Space, so much space. "This is yours." He handed her the keys. "A studio, your studio. I signed the lease this morning." "Cashton." "I can't." "You can." His eyes were earnest. "You should." "Waverly, I've spent 3 years building a company. Making money. Forgetting why any of it matters. You've spent 6 months erasing yourself for someone who didn't deserve you. Let's both stop." She walked through the space, imagined easels, canvases, paint, color everywhere, creation. "This is too much. This is overdue." He followed her. "Paint. Create. Build something that's yours. No conditions, no expectations. Just be. Why are you doing this?" "Because watching you come alive when you talk about art." His hand found hers. "That's the most beautiful thing I've seen. I want more of it. This isn't part of our arrangement." "No." He pulled her close. "This is me investing in my wife's happiness. Call it selfish." "How is this selfish?" "Because your happiness." He touched her face. I'm realizing it might be essential to mine. She kissed him then. Grateful. Overwhelmed. Falling for this man who kept showing her she mattered. He responded immediately. Deepened the kiss. Backed her against exposed brick. This is dangerous. She gasped as his mouth found her neck. What is this? Us. The way you make me forget this is supposed to be fake. Then stop pretending it is. His hands slid under her shirt. Stop acting like this doesn't mean something. It's been less than a week. And I've felt more in 6 days with you than 6 years before. He pulled back to meet her eyes. Tell me you don't feel it too. I feel it, she admitted. I'm terrified of it, but I feel it. Good. He kissed her again. Be terrified with me. They made love in the empty studio. Afternoon light painting skin. The city humming below. It was desperate and tender, urgent and slow, everything their first night had been but more. Because now they knew each other's rhythms. Now they were choosing this instead of running toward it. After, lying tangled on his jacket spread across the floor, Waverly traced patterns on his chest. What are we doing? Building something. What if we're building on sand? What if this all collapses? Then we build again. He caught her hand, brought it to his lips. But I don't think it will. Why not? Because for the first time in my life I want something more than success. What do you want? You. Simple. Impossible. True. I want you happy. Want you creating. Want to come home to you covered in paint and telling me about your day. He propped himself up on one elbow. I want real, Waverly. With you. We barely know each other. Then, let's fix that. He stood, pulled her up, extended his hand. Hi, I'm Cashton Merrick. I'm 35. I hate broccoli. I speak 4 languages. I collect first edition books. My favorite movie is The Princess Bride, which I'll deny if you tell anyone. I'm terrified of becoming my father, and I'm falling for my fake wife. She laughed, took his hand, shook it formally. Hi, I'm Waverly Hartwick. Merrick now, I guess. I'm 29. I cry at dog videos. I can't cook to save my life. My favorite painting is Monet's water lilies. I'm scared of being seen and invisible at the same time. And I think I'm falling for my fake husband too. See? He pulled her close. Now we know each other. That's not how it works. No. His smile was devastating. But it's a start. If you're loving this journey, hit that like button and leave a comment telling me what you think happens next. And subscribe because this story is about to get even more complicated. The complications started the next morning. Waverly woke to her phone exploding. Texts, calls, social media notifications, all variations of the same message. Had she seen the news? What news? Pulled up the entertainment sites. The headline made her stomach drop. Is Dakota Merrick's marriage a fraud? Sources say rushed wedding was business move, not romance. The article detailed everything. Her relationship with Brennan. The wedding she'd fled. Meeting Cashton the same day. Marrying him less than 48 hours later. The timing of his birthday and his father's will clause. Anonymous sources claiming the marriage was a sham designed to protect his inheritance. Cashton. She found him already in his office. On the phone. His face was granite. I don't care what they're printing. We don't comment on personal matters. He listened. Then do your job and make it go away. He slammed the phone down. Saw her in the doorway. His expression softened. You saw. How bad is it? Bad enough that my mother called at 6 a.m. demanding I annul immediately. He ran his hands through his hair. Bad enough that 3 board members want an emergency meeting to discuss whether the marriage satisfies the clause if it's fraudulent. Can they do that? Challenge it. He shrugged. They can try, but we're legally married. That's what matters. Is it though? She moved into the room. If everyone thinks it's fake, if the press is digging, what if they're right? His eyes sharpened. Are you saying this is fake? I'm saying we got married for practical reasons and now we're what? Pretending it's more. Are we? He stood, came around the desk. Because it doesn't feel like pretending to me. It doesn't feel like it to me either, but that doesn't make it real. Real is time. Real is knowing someone. Real is choosing someone every day. He cut her off. Real is waking up thinking about them. Going to sleep wanting them close. Real is being terrified you'll lose something you just found. He cupped her face. That's real to me. Is it real to you? Yes. The word came out broken. But what if we're just good at lying to ourselves? Then we're the best liars I've ever met. He kissed her, soft, seeking. When he pulled back, his eyes held vulnerability she'd never seen. I don't want this to be fake, Waverly. I want what? Everything. He touched his forehead to hers. I want the year. I want after the year. I want to build something that doesn't have an expiration date. You're scared, terrified. His laugh was shaky. I've negotiated billion-dollar deals without breaking a sweat, but the thought of losing you, that scares me more than anything. Her phone rang. Her father. She answered on speaker. Dad, Waverly, I just saw the news. Is it true? Did you marry him for money? For his connections? No. Yes. She sank into a chair. It's complicated. Uncomplicated. Because right now it looks like you went from one bad decision to another. Brennan was the bad decision. Cashton. She met his eyes across the room. Cashton is the choice I'm making for me. Even if it started wrong. Even if people think it's fake. I'm choosing this. Silence. Then her father's voice, quieter. Are you happy? She paused, considered. I'm becoming happy. Learning how. That's more than I had with Brennan. Then that's all that matters. Her father's sigh carried through the phone. Your mother would have liked him. The man, not the money. Yeah. Waverly felt tears prick her eyes. She would have. After the call ended, Cashton asked, Your mother died 4 years ago. Cancer. She was. Waverly smiled through tears. She was magic. Made everything beautiful. Saw potential in everyone. Dad fell apart when she died. Started gambling. Making bad decisions. He became someone else, like me after my mother. Cashton sat beside her. Grief rewrites us. Sometimes we don't recognize who we become. Did you recognize yourself? No. His hand found hers. I became my father, which is what he wanted, what he trained me for. But it's not what my mother would have wanted. What would she have wanted? For me to be happy, to build a life, not just a legacy. He squeezed her fingers. To fall in love and mean it. Have you ever been in love? Once, when I was 23. He stared at their joined hands. Her name was Isla. She was an artist, actually. Worked at a gallery I was investing in. What happened? She couldn't handle my world. The hours, the pressure, the constant scrutiny. He was quiet. Or maybe I couldn't handle being vulnerable. Couldn't let her in past the armor. So she left. I'm sorry. Don't be. It taught me that love is a liability in my world. That caring too much gives people power to destroy you. And now you're making me question everything I thought I knew. He looked at her. You're making me want to try again. I could hurt you. You could. I could leave. You could. I'm probably going to disappoint you. Probably. His smile was soft. Want to disappoint each other and see what happens. That's the worst romantic proposition ever. I know. He pulled her close. But it's honest. And honest is what we do. Fine. She settled against him. Let's disappoint each other spectacularly. The scandal didn't die. It grew. More articles, more speculation. Paparazzi camped outside their building. Outside the studio Cashton had leased for her. Outside Merrick Industries. Everyone wanted the story. The real story. Not the fairy tale they were trying to sell. Cashton's solution was Densing Cashton. Double down. If they think we're faking, he said over breakfast a week into the media storm. We prove we're not. How? By being publicly, demonstrably in love. He said it like a business strategy, which maybe it was. We are in love, she ventured. Aren't we? Are we? His eyes met hers. Or are we in lust? In like, In some complicated space between arrangement and real. I don't know, she admitted, but I want to find out. Then let's give them a show. What kind of show? The kind that makes them believe. Starting with the gala tomorrow night. What gala? The Metropolitan Arts Foundation Gala. He pulled out his phone, showed her an invitation. Biggest social event of the season. Everyone who's anyone. All the people who think we're frauds. We're going. And we're going to be so convincing that even we'll believe it. That's manipulative. That's survival. He stood, came around the table. Look, the board is watching. The press is circling. We need to sell this. Can you do that? Can you pretend for one night that you're desperately in love with me? I don't think I'd be pretending. The words came out quiet. What? I don't think. She met his eyes. I don't think I'd be pretending, Cashton. I think I'm actually falling for you, which terrifies me because this started fake and I don't know how to trust that it's become real. His expression shifted, softened, Waverly. But I want to trust it. She stood, moved to him. I want to believe that two broken people can build something whole, that practical arrangements can become love, that we're not just good at lying to ourselves. So yes, I'll go to your gala. I'll be so convincing everyone believes we're in love, and maybe by the end of the night we'll believe it too. The dress arrived the morning of the gala, delivered by a designer whose name Waverly recognized from magazines. Deep sapphire blue, custom made to fit her perfectly. A note attached in Cashton's handwriting, to match your eyes when you're creating, when you're happy, when you're most yourself. Wear this and let everyone see what I see. Beautiful. She found him in his office. Thank you. For the dress. It's perfect. You haven't tried it on yet. I don't need to. She leaned against the doorframe. You see me. Really see me. That's the gift. Not the dress. He stood, came to her. I see you. All of you. The parts you show the world and the parts you hide. The strength and the fear. The armor and the softness underneath. His hands framed her face. I see you, Waverly, and I'm terrified of how much I like what I see. Because it means this is real. Because it means I have something to lose. He kissed her, slow, deep. A promise and a question. Tonight we go public. Really public. Everyone watching. Everyone judging. Can you handle that? I married you in front of the world. I can hold your hand at a party. It's more than holding hands. It's claiming each other. Publicly, irrevocably. No more half measures. No more maybe this is real. He pulled back to meet her eyes. After tonight, everyone will know you're mine and I'm yours. And if it becomes too much, if the scrutiny, if people, then we face it together. His thumb traced her cheekbone. No more running, no more pretending, just us, being honest about what we're building. I can do that. Good, he smiled. Because I already told Vogue they could photograph us. You what? Relax. His smile turned wicked. If we're going to have a fake marriage, we might as well look good doing it. This isn't fake anymore. No. His eyes held hers. It's not. But they don't know that yet. Tonight we show them. The gala was held at the Museum of Modern Art. Red carpet. Photographers, celebrities and socialites and everyone who mattered in New York's elite circles. Waverly's hand shook as their car pulled up. Cashton laced his fingers through hers. Hey, you okay? Terrified. Good. He kissed her knuckles. Me too. You're never scared. I'm scared of everything that matters. He met her eyes. And you matter. So I'm terrified. But we do this together. The door opened. Sound crashed over them. Cameras, voices, questions, shouted. Dakota! Over here. Who's your date? Waverly, how does it feel to marry a billionaire? Is the marriage real? Cashton's arm came around her waist. Solid. Grounding. He leaned down, whispered in her ear. Smile. Show them you're not afraid. I am afraid. Then show them you're brave anyway. They walked the carpet, stopped for photos. Cashton's hand never left her waist. Possessive, protective. When photographers asked them to kiss, he didn't hesitate. Cupped her face. Kissed her like they were alone. Like the cameras didn't exist. like nothing mattered except her. The crowd actually sighed. When he pulled back, his eyes held heat. How was that? Convincing, she managed. Very convincing. I wasn't acting, neither was I. Inside the museum was transformed. Flowers, lighting, art on every wall, tables set for dinner, a orchestra playing, money and culture and power concentrated in one beautiful space. They made their entrance. Heads turned, conversations paused, everyone watching, everyone judging. Cashton. A woman's voice. Cool. Cultured. Cordelia Merrick approached in a gown that probably cost more than a car. Her eyes raked over Waverly with surgical precision. Mother. Cashton's tone was neutral. You came. You didn't think I'd miss my son's debut with his new wife. Cordelia's smile was sharp. We need to talk. Later. Now. She gestured to a quiet corner. Privately. Waverly can hear anything you have to say. Fine. Cordelia turned her arctic gaze on Waverly. How much? Excuse me. How much will it take for you to walk away, to quietly divorce my son and disappear? She named a figure that made Waverly's head spin. I'm not for sale. Everyone's for sale. Cordelia's smile was pitying. It's just a matter of price. You're wrong. Waverly stepped closer. I married your son because he's brilliant and broken and brave enough to ask for help. Because he sees me. Because I'm falling in love with him. Your money can't buy that, and it certainly can't make me leave. Cordelia's expression shifted. Surprise. Then something else. Respect, maybe. You're not what I expected. No. Cashton's arm tightened around Waverly. She's better. And she's not going anywhere. So you can either accept that or leave. Your choice. His mother studied them both. Then, fine, but hurt him and I'll destroy you. Understood. She turned, walked away. Waverly let out a breath. That was terrifying. Hot. Cashton pulled her close. You just stood up to Cordelia Merrick. People don't do that. I just did, because she threatened us. There is no us without you. He kissed her temple. Thank you for defending me. Thank you for choosing me. Always. The words slipped out. He froze. What? I choose you. She met his eyes. Always. Not just for a year. Not just until the arrangement ends. I choose you, Cashton. For real. For as long as you'll have me. Waverly. Say it. She needed to hear it. Say what you're feeling. I love you. The words came out rough, desperate. I know it's fast. I know it's crazy. But I love you. I love your strength, your art. The way you throw yourself into life instead of hiding from it. He framed her face. I love you, and I don't want this to be temporary. I want forever. I love you too. Tears ran down her cheeks. I was so scared to say it, scared it wasn't real, but it is. This is real. We're real. Then marry me. We're already married. For real this time. He was serious. No arrangement, no contract, just two people choosing forever. He pulled a small box from his pocket, opened it, a different ring, simpler, a single diamond. Perfect. Marry me, Waverly. Not because of my company, not because you needed escape, because you love me and I love you and we want to build a life together. The museum disappeared. The gala, the people, everything faded except him. Yes. She laughed through tears. Yes. I'll marry you. For real. Forever. He slid the ring on her finger, next to the first one. Now you have two. One for the arrangement, one for always. I like always better. Me too. He kissed her. The orchestra swelled. People around them noticed, started clapping. Someone whistled. By tomorrow, the photos would be everywhere. The billionaire and his bride. The fairy tale everyone wanted to believe. But standing there in Cashton's arms, Waverly didn't care about fairy tales. She had something better, something real. Something they'd built from broken pieces and brutal honesty. Something that started fake and became the truest thing in her life. You ready for this? Cashton murmured against her hair. Ready for what? Forever with me. It won't be perfect. I'll work too much. You'll get lost in your art. We'll fight, disappoint each other. I'm counting on it. She pulled back to meet his eyes. Perfect is boring. I want real, messy, honest. I want you on your worst days and your best. I want to build something that doesn't quit when it gets hard. Then let's build it, together. He held out his hand. She took it. They walked back into the gala, into their lives, into whatever came next. Two broken people who'd found each other in the rain, who'd made an arrangement that became a marriage, who'd learned that sometimes the best love stories start with the worst reasons and become something beautiful anyway. 6 months later, Waverly stood in her studio, canvas in front of her, paint covering her hands, creating. The series was almost done, 12 large pieces chronicling a journey, from betrayal to rain, from strangers in a limousine to choosing forever, from fake to real. The gallery showing was in 2 weeks, her first major exhibition. Kashdan had insisted on not using his name, not pulling strings, just her work, standing alone. She heard him before she saw him, his key in the lock, his footsteps on the stairs, home early. She checked the time, 4 p.m. You're never home at 4. I am now. He appeared in the doorway. Loosened tie, rolled sleeves. The sight of him still made her heart race. I told the board I'm implementing new policies. No meetings after 3. No work on weekends. Fridays I leave at noon. They must have loved that. They'll adjust. He moved to her, wrapped his arms around her from behind, rested his chin on her shoulder. Because my wife taught me that life is more than building empires. It's building moments, like this. Like coming home to you covered in paint, like kissing you and tasting turpentine, like being present for the life we're creating. She leaned back against him. Who are you and what have you done with the workaholic I married? He's learning. She felt him smile, slowly, with excellent motivation. Your show is in 2 weeks. Nervous, terrified, good. He turned her to face him. Being scared means it matters. You taught me that. Did I? Among other things, he kissed paint off her nose. You taught me to stop, to feel, to choose life over success. You taught me I could have both. That loving you doesn't make me weak. It makes me better. You're going to make me cry. Cry then. He pulled her close. I'll be here, always. They stood there while afternoon light painted the studio gold. Two people who'd started as strangers, who'd made a deal that became a marriage, that became love, that became life. The kind of love that doesn't happen in fairy tales. The kind that happens in real life when two broken people decide to be brave together. Kashdan. Yeah. Thank you. For what? For picking me up in the rain. His arms tightened. Best decision I ever made. Mine, too. She pulled back to meet his eyes. Running into your car. Marrying you twice. Choosing you every day since. That's my best decision. Even though it started fake. Especially because it started fake. He smiled. Meant we had nowhere to go but real. And real. She touched his face. Real is everything. Yes. He kissed her softly. It is. Outside the studio, traffic hummed. The city moved. Life continued. But inside, in the space they'd built together, time slowed. Two hearts beating in sync, two souls finding home, not in a place but in each other. This is the lesson. That love doesn't always start with flowers and poetry. Sometimes it starts with running, with desperation, with practical arrangements and broken hearts seeking shelter. Sometimes it starts fake and becomes the realest thing you've ever known. Because real love isn't about perfect beginnings. It's about choosing each other when everything says you shouldn't. It's about building trust from honesty. About turning transactions into tenderness. About learning that the best partnerships are the ones where both people commit to growth. Where both people say, I see your broken pieces and I'm not afraid. Waverly had run from a wedding to a man who'd offered her temporary shelter, found a husband in a business deal, discovered love in an arrangement, built a life with someone who started as a stranger and became her home. And Kashdan had been running too. From his father's ghost, from loneliness disguised as success, from a life that looked perfect but felt empty, until a woman in a destroyed wedding dress taught him that stopping wasn't weakness, that vulnerability wasn't defeat, that love was the bravest business venture he'd ever take. They'd both been betrayed, both been broken, both been running, until they ran into each other and learned that sometimes the best thing you can do is stop running and start building. Start choosing, start loving with your whole broken heart, and see what becomes whole in the process. If this story touched your heart, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Hit that subscribe button and join our family. Drop a comment telling me what lesson you're taking from Waverly and Cashton's journey, because their story isn't just entertainment, it's a reminder that you are worthy of being chosen. That broken doesn't mean unfixable. That practical can become passionate. That arrangements can become authentic. That the love worth having is the love you build consciously, honestly, bravely. Thank you for being here. Thank you for believing in stories that remind us we're all worthy of second chances, of real love, of lives built on truth instead of performance. Until next time, remember this. The best love stories aren't the ones that start perfect. They're the ones where imperfect people choose each other anyway, where strangers become partners, where deals become devotion, where fake becomes the realest thing you've ever known. That's the magic. Not in fairy tales, but in the messy, honest, beautiful reality of two people saying, I choose you. Today, tomorrow, always. Now, go live your own love story. The real one. The brave one. The one where you choose yourself first and then choose someone who sees your worth. You deserve that. You deserve everything.